Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul. Hopefully you're having an amazing day. Apologies for not being on camera for today, but I've been doing prep work and due diligence for an upcoming video, which is hopefully going to be up tomorrow, if not the day after. And it's going to be an exclusive covering upcoming products from AMD on their GPU and CPU roadmap. So if you're interested in that, then of course you should subscribe to the channel and make sure that you've also clicked the bell icon. With that said, let's kick things off with Nvidia and the RTX 3080 Ti, specifically the release date and updated specification. So this card is allegedly going to be releasing in April. We'll get more into that in just a moment, with the specification now being 10,240 CUDA cores and 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X memory. So if you're unfamiliar with the saga, let me give you some groundwork. Back in late last year, even in December, we were hearing that it was going to feature the same number of CUDA cores as the RTX 3090, so that's 10,496, with 20 gigabytes of VRAM. So that does mean a narrower memory bus, as it was 320 versus 384. However, there were, of course, well, one more memory to kind of sing and praise about, but you also got the same number of CUDA cores as the RTX 3090. But then, as I was reporting in early January, despite the fact that, basically partners were being briefed, and to my knowledge, the RTX 3080 Ti was going to launch just after the RTX 3060, things started to change, and I was hearing that the card was on hold, despite the fact that some were reporting it was cancelled, and it just wasn't. It was just being tweaked and changed. And indeed, as I mentioned a moment ago, 10,240 CUDA cores now with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So obviously the fewer number of CUDA cores is not such a great thing in terms of performance. However, I don't think that for games anyway, 20 gigabytes of VRAM is necessarily needed. So obviously more is always better, however the wider memory bus could actually help to offset the fewer number of CUDA cores. Of course this will heavily depend upon A, resolution, and B, the title. So I imagine, and this is guesswork, it's going to be maybe 10 to 12% faster than the RTX 3080. But of course, it will also depend on things such as overclocking and, well, just again, the game that you're testing. So this I find particularly interesting with Nvidia's decision because I think it actually matches up to what I was saying again in a previous video, that Nvidia were a bit concerned that the RTX 3090 would basically be useless. I mean, let's just be really honest. It's going to be very difficult to recommend to someone to pick up the RTX 3090 if you could pick up the RTX 3080 Ti for, let's say, $500 cheaper. Even 4 gigabytes of RAM, most professionals or prosumers are not going to want it, and gamers, okay, well, I miss out on a tiny bit of performance with the narrower memory bus. Okay, I'll save the $500. So there was that concern and the separation of the RTX 3080 Ti to some degree and not making the 3090 basically dead. Nvidia were apparently even considering, somewhat doing a rebrand or a change of the message, at least with the 3090, and making it be pushed towards more like prosumer work, although whether this actually comes to pass, who knows, as I think most would agree that the ship has somewhat sailed on the 3090 branding at this point. But the other benefit too is that obviously the RTX 3090 has a much higher margin in terms of profitability. So if you're using the same cores for the RTX 3080 Ti as well as the 3090, there's got to be some level of separation there. So this way, GPU cores which don't quite make the cut for the 3090 can be, well, basically used for the 3080 Ti, depending on exactly how good the yields are at Nvidia. So the release date actually comes to us via videocards.com, who are stating that according to what they've seen, it's actually April. And this is actually contrary to what I was reporting. I was even hearing it could be later than April. And much of this, to my knowledge anyway, comes down to Nvidia not wanting to frustrate gamers. Obviously, if you're releasing a product, there needs to be the ability to buy it. And We've seen a lot of paper launches recently, and Nvidia are extremely aware of this. They're acutely aware of this, and AMD are too, and we'll actually discuss some RX 6000 stuff in just a moment. So one reason that Nvidia were holding this card back was also because of, well, just availability of the GPU. I'm actually hearing that the RTX 3060, so that's the non-Ti variant, has really decent numbers available. I'm actually hearing it could be quite similar to the RTX 3060 Ti. The thing is, though, I don't think that's still going to be enough to actually meet demand. I mean, let's just be really honest. If Nvidia were to able to click a magic button and double the number of RTX 3060 Ti's, to say you could go back, retrospectively and double the number of RTX 3060 Ti's which had been available for launch, I still don't think it would have met demand. And I think this is going to be very similar for the RTX 3060. Just currently things are absolutely crazy, and actually a little different to the Nvidia news, but I just want to mention it anyway. There are now Chinese GPU miners who are actually buying laptops for mining as well. And I'll link, of course, this article in the video description as it comes to us via a couple of different sources, including Bilibili. But long story short, yeah, people are buying RTX 30 laptops, and as you can see from the photos, they're just like stacking multiple of these laptops, like dozens of them, to mine Ethereum. And when you think about it, laptops are way more expensive, oh, I guess it depends on the level of gouging, than a GPU. So it's interesting that we're starting to even see this come to pass at the moment, which kind of sucks, as for a while I was kind of like, well, maybe, just maybe gaming on a laptop could be the way to go, but of course, no, we're now getting kicked in the shin there as well. And now I want to move over to the RX 6000 series, as there are a couple of very interesting things afoot, and it concerns the 6600 XT and the RX 6700 non-XT. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I did recently leak the performance targets of the RX 6700 XT and 6700, and I said that the 6700 XT is basically outperforming the RTX 3060 Ti. It's actually closer to the 3070, but not quite there. And the 6700 seems to be around on par with the RTX 3060 Ti in best case scenarios, but frequently it was a little bit behind that. And that was according to a couple of my really good sources. And the specification was 40 compute units and 12 gigabytes of RAM for the 6700 XT, and the 6700 vanilla features the same 12 gigabytes of RAM. However, there was a cut in the number of compute units down to just 36. But yeah, interestingly, ASRock have actually filed a 6700 which only has 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So whether this model is going to coexist with the 12 gigabyte model, or whether AMD have shuffled the specification, I'm not too sure, because it's even stranger given the fact that the 6600 XT also exists, and this actually features, you guessed it, 12 gigabytes of RAM. Just logically, it wouldn't make much sense, given that the memory bus is identical, which is something that you can't say about the 3060 Ti, and all of those type of cards from Nvidia and that whole fiasco. But with AMD, all of these are on 192-bit bus memory. So there's, to me anyway, no logical reason that we would see a 12 gigabyte variant of the 6600 XT, but then only see 6 gigabytes for the 6700. So back at CES, which actually feels so long ago, we actually saw a preview of what these cards could look like. AMD were showing off what looks like the 6700 featuring just a dual fan design, whereas the 6600, I guess, was much smaller and it was only a single fan design. And this, of course, is kind of close to what the photos I leaked before the release date of these cards, at least for the 6700, but they did indeed change the shroud, which I had mentioned that apparently AMD were looking to do, and it does seem like that is the case, that the older design is kind of scrapped, and instead they have more of a uniform look now between the whole lineup. And again, these are reference cards. As a quick reminder as well, the 6700 series is definitely going to be receiving a reference GPUs, and logically we would also see the same thing for the RX 6600 as well. I'm going to be putting out an exclusive in a day or two where I discuss more the roadmap for AMD's products for RDNA 3, CDNA 2, and also some of their CPUs too. But as I was discussing in yet another exclusive a couple of days ago, RDNA 3 is looking like it's going to be about 2.5 times more performant than RDNA 2. And I've also got some more details now as to the actual makeup of the GPU, which I'll discuss in a future video. But yeah, I'm more confident than ever that the 2.5 times performance increase is probably accurate. And yeah, in that video I was also detailing Lovelace and Intel, and I think that the next year to 2 years in graphics technology is going to be brutal for the companies to actually strive to be on top. AMD are definitely going to be catching up quite a lot to Nvidia in ray tracing performance. And RDNA 2 is not terrible or any stretch of the imagination, but it's clear that there's still optimization left to do, especially in software. I think that as AMD's drivers get better, they can definitely squeeze more out of that. And I think this year is going to be AMD taking a lot of market share and just overall being ultra aggressive in well, just about everything, honestly. I feel the next year to 2 years in graphics is going to be absolutely insane, given what we are learning about Lovelace, RDNA 3, and Intel's own architectures. So, as always, if you are interested in any of this, definitely stick with me, and well, we've got a lot to discuss. With that said, thank you very much for checking out the video. The normal stuff, if you have enjoyed it, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.